So today we are going to learn about table functions in SAP Native HANA. Okay, how to create table functions by using a simple example initially, and then later going to another example where we can create with the input parameters too. Okay, we will discuss more about examples. So, but today's topic is table functions. In our last sessions, we seen about procedures. Okay, I taken multiple examples for procedures and tried to explain each and every scenario where we can use for loop, cursors and all. Okay, I hope this is enough so far. Okay, using this you can create your own procedures and implement your required logic. So jumping into table functions. So what is table function first of all? So what is a table function? So why we use table function? So table in earlier, like in the initial versions of SAP Native HANA, we have calculation views, and in calculation views we have two types: normal calculation view and scripted calculation view. Scripted calculation view is nothing but scripted calculation view is nothing but a calculation view which is created using SQL statements. Okay, so let me go to my Excel just to brief on 2-3 points about this one, then we can jump into the example. So earlier we have scripted calculation views. Okay, so and we have calculation views also. So when we have calculation view concept, which is graphical user interface, where we bring tables into the calculation view and apply joins on it, do aggregations and apply some other functionalities and bringing the required output. So that is the functionality what we use in the calculation views. But SAP introduces scripted calculation view concept also. What it meant is whichever modeling scenarios that are not possible to replicate in the calculation view by doing graphical representation, those scenarios can be implemented in the scripted calculation views by using the SQL statements. And so far we learned about SQL commands. We have many SQL commands we seen things, right? So if something which is not possible via graphical representation, then obviously we can achieve those by writing some scripted SQL scripts in a sequential manner to achieve our required output. So those statements are clubbed into one scripted calculation view and which gives our result. So this this is also calculation view, this is also calculation view. The difference mainly is in scripted calculation view, you will write your own SQL statement. In normal calculation views, you will do presentation of your modeling, and when you execute the calculation view, then SAP turns your graphical modeling into a SQL statement. Okay, but in scripted calculation view, you are writing the script SQL statements. That's the only difference, nothing to explain much. So later point, what happened, SAP deprecated this scripted calculation view and brought another functionality called table functions. So table functions also works in the same way how scripted calculation view works. So in table function also, we write our own SQL statements to generate our required output. Okay, whenever if you feel like the graphical modeling of a calculation view does not fit your requirement to give the desired output, then you can jump into table function and write your required SQL statements to get your desired output. That's it. Nothing, I don't want to explain much about this one. Now directly jumping into our topic. Okay, so next our topic here is going into our PPT. So here I provided one simple table function example for our easy understanding. Okay, so what is this example? This example simply returns one tabular format. Remember, table function always returns data of type table. Okay, table function always returns data of type table. If you see the second screenshot, this is a output of type table format where we have multiple columns in it. Okay, and for getting this kind of output, I written my table function on the which is on the left hand side. Okay, in this way. And next, To your table function, you can pass input parameters, or you know, without passing input parameters also, you can define your table function. Okay, that is second point. And thirdly is, so table functions are also to be created from repository section only. Okay, so in what is the difference between procedure and table function? That is important, because we see in procedure there also we are writing our own SQL statements to generate a desired output, or to, you know, update database tables. But what is the difference between table function and procedure is, table in procedure you can update database tables. In our previous examples we written also one example where we created one procedure and tried to update one of the database table with new records. But in table function you cannot perform such kind of operations. You can able to write data, you know, SQL code in table function, but all the SQLs are just only read SQLs only. Okay, na? You can generate one at the end. You have to generate one table output and return that table output for this table function. Okay, and you cannot use any insert, modify, delete kind of SQL statements in your table function. You can always write only select statements, or, you know, work with the internal tables. Okay, so you cannot use create or insert, delete, you know, append, modify, all those kind of statements in your table function. Okay, table function is mainly to fetch data from the existing database tables and creating some local internal tables, which at the end provides one output which we can return in a tabular format. Okay, so coming back to our example, so I created one example without any input parameters, and it is trying to return one table. You see the third line in our table function returns table. Okay, because I am going to return table at the end, you know, of this table function. So this is a table of type of what is the type? So here I define my structure. So my table contains two columns, document number, material, and I provided those two here. And between begin and end, I am returning some data into this you know, result. I created one local internal table. Result is a local table where I am getting the document number, material information from one of the database table, and at the end I am writing one return statement to to return the output to this table function. Okay, let's see how it works in the system. It will give more clarity. Okay, so now I am going to HANA Studio. Let me close the existing ones. So in my HANA Studio, in the Systems tab, under my schema HANA user, I have tables. In the tables, I am using one of the tables sales_1. In my sales_1 table, I have around 6 records. This is the data. Okay, I displayed content from this table, and I have 6 records in this table. Now I am creating one table function to bring some columns from this table into my output. So table functions, we create table functions not for simple executions. Remember, if it is a very simple kind of operation, we can always achieve this by using the normal calculation view, graphical calculation view with the modeling scenario. Okay, but we use table function only for the scenarios where it cannot be possible via using graphical. Okay, but you know, I don't have any such scenario now. So to teach you how to create table function, how to write code in it, I am using a simple scenario. Okay, just make a note of it. So I am having one table where I have 6 records here. Now my intention is I want to create a table function. So how I can create table function? Go to repository section, go to your package, right click on your package, new, other, table function. When you type table here, you see table function. So select your table function here, click on next, and select your package and provide your table function name. So I'm giving tf_exmp2 example2. Okay, I'm creating my table function name as tf_exmp2 and click on finish. Then system will generate you some syntax by default. And if you see here, function and then followed by our schema and then package name, our table function name, followed by two brackets. What are these two brackets? As like procedure, in these two brackets we can provide input parameters to this table function if we have any. If you want to pass some input parameters to this table function, you can pass within this table brackets. Okay, and there are no out parameters here because table function always receives input and returns a table. You see in the returns keyword, returns table type. It is clearly mentioning here. Okay, so here I in my first example, I am not giving any input parameters to my table function, but I will try to return one table. Okay, return table followed by definition. So I need to provide my table definition here. So I am going to return two columns from my table, doc underscore number of type varchar 10 and material. So let's take these two are the fields which I wish to return from this table function. Okay, using this table function, and no need to change any other code. Just to delete this begin and between these comments. Now I am going to write my code in between begin and end begin. So from where I am going to fetch my output data, as I explained earlier, I am going to use my database table to fetch my data. Okay, so I'm copying my table name. I'm going to my table function. So before what I need to do, first I need to create one internal table. So it is very easy here. Just define result or lt underscore local table. I'm telling, right, lt underscore sales is equal to select doc underscore number material from my table name. So what happens, select statement always returns data in a tabular format. So this particular table output is now storing in my local table LT sales. You no need to define any structure for this LT sales. Whatever output my select statement returns, thus by the same structure my LT sales will be defined automatically. Okay, so my LT sales now contains two columns of information, one for document number, one for material, which is almost the same structure like my return table, document number and material. Okay, now simply what I am going to do, my table function always must have one return statement. It should return LT underscore sales. So what I'm doing, my table function must end with return statement. In the return statement, I need to provide an output of structure, my return table definition. So LT sales also having same kind of definition, document number and material. So I am returning my local table to the return statement, passing my table to the return statement. So now I'm trying to execute, that's it. Okay, I'm trying to activate my table function. So yeah, some error is there, mismatch material. Yeah, somewhere naming material METE. You see, okay, this is also a good thing. So what happens, my table function failed due to one problem. What is the problem here? If you see in my return table, I defined the second column material with the wrong name. You see METE RAL, I given IR. Okay, so my LT sales contains a structure of two columns, that is okay, and the first column name is document number, which is matching with my output table, return table, but second column is material, which is not matching, the technical name of the column not matching with my return table column name. That's the reason it was failed. So it is also good thing. So what we learned here, my technical names of the columns must be matched here. Okay, so material, now try to activate this. It was activated successfully. Okay, so now we have created one table function successfully in the system, and I can see table function example 2. Now how to call this table function, how I get to know this table function is working properly or not. Okay, how I get to know. So I need to test this table function. So how I can test this table function to see data. Okay, how means, go to your again HANA modeling and open any one SQL command prompt. Open any open the SQL console and type your. So one more point, yes. In my HANA modeling, so if I go to my schema, if I go to my HANA user schema, under functions, you can see your newly created table function. Table function, so it is a function kind of operation. So under functions folder, you can see your table function. So where is my table function? You see h underscore yeah, Anita tf example2. This is the table function which we created just now. Okay. Now what I am going to do is, in my console on the table functions, we write select statement. Okay. Earlier when we are learning procedures, we are using call statement, but for table functions we write select statement. Select star from my table function. Just a drag and drop your table function which gives all the format, naming format, and after table function name you must keep brackets. Okay, because if you don't keep brackets, system will consider this as a table. To make it, to get system knows it's a table function, you must keep this brackets. Okay, if it contains some input parameters, we need to pass. So I'm giving like this. Since I don't have any input parameters defined to my table function, I'm simply keeping bracket open, bracket close, and trying to execute. You see, it was executed successfully. I'm returning, it is returning document number and material. Okay, this is a very one simple example how to create a table function which returns some data. Okay, that's all. And if you want to use this table function on your calculation view, just search with this table function name tf example2, then automatically it comes. So where I can use this table function in the calculation view? So when you're creating a calculation view in your HANA modeling, go to content, let's filter. Yeah, it is there. Okay, in this package, now I'm going to create one calculation view just to complete this complete scenario. Go new calculation view, cv underscore table function underscore test. Okay, so I'm creating, just clicking on finish button here. Now I'm routing my projection into my calculation view. In the projection window, select this plus symbol and try to find your table function tf underscore exmp2. You see, now you have table function. I am using the first one because this is the table function simple definition. I can use this one. Okay. Now you see my table, whenever I am using this table function, since my table function as per the definition, it returns a table of type 2 columns. I can see both the columns here. So like this, you can call your table function on your calculation view. Okay, since we not yet started with calculation views, I'm not using much, just to show how we utilize this table function in a calculation view. I shown this example. Okay, that's all. So I'm closing for today, and tomorrow, next in our next session, what I am going to teach is how to create a table function with the input parameter. Okay, how to handle this scenario also we will learn, and we will close this table function topic. And important point is, I already discussed about all the SQL statements, commands what we use, and in procedure also I shown how to use declare cursors and for loop and all. So I'm not going to make it complex in our table function. Okay, so I'm simply giving a small example how to create it in different scenarios, and you can use your all SQL knowledge to create your own required or desired output. Okay, I'm stopping share my recording.